Aaron was a young worker who lived on the edge of the human colony. The colony had been built many years ago on a planet rich with metals and crystals. People came here to mine, trade, and build new lives. Aaron was not a soldier or a leader. He was only a repair worker, someone who fixed old machines that others had broken. His life was not special, but he carried a curious mind and a quiet heart. The colony was always noisy during the day. Machines roared in the mining pits, carts rolled on the tracks, and traders shouted about their goods in the market square. Aaron liked to escape the noise when he could. He often worked near the outer edges, where broken drills and forgotten equipment were stored. This place was quieter, and it gave him time to think. One evening, while the sun was sinking behind the red hills, Aaron was checking an old machine. The metal was rusted and the wires were broken. He bent down to see if anything could be saved. As he worked, a strange sound reached his ears. It was not the creak of iron or the hiss of steam. It was softer, almost like a cry. At first he thought it was only the wind blowing through the empty storage units nearby. But then the sound came again. This time it was clearer. It was weak, almost like someone asking for help. Aaron stood still, his heart beating fast. The storage units were supposed to be empty. Most of them held scraps of old tools, crates of useless parts, or piles of stone. No one should be inside. His curiosity pushed him forward. He followed the sound and reached one of the older units, its door rusted and marked with warning paint. The lock was heavy, but the faint noise came from within. Aaron placed his ear against the door. Yes, it was real. A voice, weak and trembling, came from the darkness behind the metal. Aaron looked around. No one was near. The guards had already finished their rounds and the workers had gone back to their homes. The storage yard was empty. His hand shook as he touched the lock. He knew he should not open it. If the guards found out, he could be punished. But something inside him refused to leave. Using a small tool from his belt, Aaron worked at the lock. It took time and his heart pounded with every sound of scraping metal. Finally, the lock gave way with a sharp snap. The door creaked open and a smell of dust and damp air rushed out. Aaron stepped inside carefully. At first he saw nothing. The unit was dark, filled with broken crates and shadows. But then his eyes adjusted and he saw her. A figure sat against the far wall, her body thin and her head lowered. She was not human. Her skin was pale with a faint glow that shimmered like moonlight. Strange marks like silver lines ran across her arms. Her eyes, when they lifted to meet his, shone bright and clear like liquid metal. Aaron froze. He had seen aliens before, but only from far away during rare trade visits. Never had he seen one up close, and never like this. She looked weak, her wrists bound with metal cuffs, her clothes torn and dirty. The girl tried to speak, but her voice was broken. The words not human. Still, the meaning was clear. She was afraid. She was also pleading. Aaron's mind raced. Who had locked her here? The answer came quickly. Smugglers often moved through the colony. They captured rare beings and sold them in hidden markets. The girl must have been caught and hidden until the traders could take her away. He stepped closer, his heart heavy. She flinched. But when he raised his hands slowly, showing no threat, her eyes softened a little. Aaron pulled a small knife from his pocket and cut the ropes that held her ankles. The cuffs on her wrists were harder. They were thick and heavy, locked with strange metal. Aaron could not break them easily, but he tried. The girl whispered something again. Her voice was soft, musical, yet filled with pain. Aaron did not understand her words, but he understood her fear. He searched the unit and found a rusted bar. Using all his strength, he forced it against the cuffs until the metal bent and broke. The moment her hands were free, she let out a weak breath, almost like a sigh of relief. She looked at him with wide silver eyes. Aaron could see the gratitude shining in them, but there was no time to rest. If anyone came now, both of them would be caught. Aaron motioned for her to follow. She struggled to stand, her legs trembling. Without thinking, he slipped his arm under hers and helped her move. Together they left the unit and slipped into the shadows of the yard. Aaron led her through a hidden path he knew well. As a repair worker, he often used tunnels and forgotten routes to avoid the crowded main roads. They moved slowly, careful to avoid the lantern lights of the guards. The girl leaned on him for support. She was weak, but she tried to walk on her own. Her spirit was strong, even if her body was tired. Aaron admired her courage. He had no idea who she was or where she came from, but he knew one thing. She did not deserve to be a prisoner. After what felt like an endless journey, they reached the edge of the forest. The trees stood tall and dark, their branches swaying under the night sky. The twin moons rose above, casting silver light over the land. Aaron stopped here. He could not go farther. If the guards noticed his absence, questions would rise. He pointed toward the forest, hoping she would understand. The girl looked at him, her eyes shimmering with emotion. She touched her chest, then gently touched his hand. It was a silent thank you. No words were needed. Then she stepped into the forest. Her pale form moved between the trees until she was gone, swallowed by the shadows and moonlight. Aaron stood alone at the edge, his heart racing. He knew what he had done was dangerous. If anyone discovered the truth, his life would change forever. Yet as he walked back to the colony, a strange peace filled him. He had freed her. That was enough. Aaron returned to his small room and lay awake long into the night. He thought of her glowing eyes, the silver marks on her skin, and the way she had looked at him. He wondered who she was and what her story might be. He thought he would never see her again, but the memory of her would stay with him always. What Aaron did not know was that this act of kindness would soon change everything. Aaron woke the next morning feeling restless. He had not slept much. The memory of the strange girl in the storage unit kept returning to him. He had never seen eyes like hers before. They were bright silver, almost alive with light, and when she looked at him, it felt like she was speaking without words. As he prepared for his daily work, he kept wondering if she had made it far into the forest. The colony guards often patrolled the outer paths. Wild beasts also lived beyond the hills. Aaron hoped she had the strength to travel far enough to escape danger. He told himself she was gone now, safe in the deep woods, but his heart still carried worry. That day was long and heavy. The overseer gave him extra repairs near the southern pits, where the machines had been damaged by falling rocks. Aaron worked with his tools, his hands moving with habit, but his thoughts were elsewhere. Every noise in the distance made him turn his head, fearing the guards had discovered something. In the afternoon, he passed near the market square. Traders from different stations had arrived, selling spices, fabrics, and even strange mechanical toys. People gathered, laughing and bargaining. To everyone else, it was a normal day. Only Aaron felt the weight of a secret. As he walked, he overheard two guards talking. They stood near the well, drinking water and resting. "The smugglers are angry," one said. "Something they were keeping has gone missing." "Was it valuable?" the other asked. "They say it was worth a fortune, but they won't say what it was. Only that it vanished 2 nights ago." Aaron kept walking, forcing himself not to look back. His chest tightened. He knew exactly what they were talking about. That evening, he returned to his small home. It was a narrow room built into the side of the colony wall. Inside were only a bed, a table, and a shelf of tools. He ate a simple meal of dried bread and fruit, but the food had little taste. He sat by the window, staring out at the fading light. He thought of her again. The way she had leaned on him for support. The way her hand had touched his as she left. It had been only a moment, but it stayed with him. He wondered if she had family waiting for her somewhere. He wondered if she would ever remember the human who had helped her. Days passed. Aaron returned to his usual routine. He worked in the pits, carried tools, fixed drills, and kept silent. Outwardly, he looked the same as any other worker. Inside, however, he felt different. It was as if he had stepped into a story larger than himself, though no one else could see it. At night, when the colony grew quiet, he sometimes walked near the forest edge. He told himself he was only getting fresh air, but deep inside he hoped to catch some sign of her. He never saw her, but he always paused, listening to the rustling of leaves and the calls of night birds. One night he brought a flask of water and set it near the edge of the path. It was a foolish act, he thought. She was probably far away by now, but still he left it there just in case. The next day, when he returned, the flask was gone. He looked at the empty ground for a long time, unsure whether it had been taken by her, by a passing traveler, or by some wandering animal. The secret weighed on him, but strangely, it also gave him strength. Aaron had always lived quietly, never stepping beyond his duties. He was one worker among hundreds, yet for the first time he felt that his choices mattered. He had risked himself to help another. That thought gave him courage even as the danger remained. The smugglers grew more restless. People whispered in the market about stolen goods and missing cargo. Aaron kept his head low, careful not to draw attention. But when he passed by the storage yard, He could not help but glance at the old unit where he had found her. The door now stood broken and guards often walked near it. He forced himself to look away quickly each time. On the fourth night after her escape, Aaron had a dream. He was standing by the forest and the girl appeared among the trees. Her silver eyes glowed brighter than the moon and her voice was clear, though he had never understood her language before. She said one word, soon. He woke with his heart racing. Dreams were only dreams, he told himself, but still he could not shake the feeling that it meant something. He waited the next evening by the river hoping, but the night passed with only the sound of water and wind. Time moved slowly. Aaron lived each day under a shadow of fear and hope. He had said goodbye to her at the forest's edge, yet part of him refused to believe it was truly the end. The memory of her eyes carried a silent promise, though no words had been spoken. The colony around him remained unchanged. The miners still shouted, the overseers still ordered, and the traders still argued over prices. Life went on as it always had. But for Aaron, every step felt different now. He carried a secret that no one else could see, a bond formed in a dark storage unit between a human worker and a captive alien girl. That silent goodbye stayed with him, strong as the rising moons. And though he tried to return to his ordinary life, he did not yet know that the story was far from over. The night was quiet in the colony. Only the distant hum of machines and the occasional call of nightbirds broke the silence. Aaron was walking near the river carrying his small lantern. He often came here when his thoughts were heavy. The flowing water helped calm his mind. That day had been long. The overseer had shouted at workers for moving too slowly. The air had been filled with dust from the mines and the heat from the machinery made every breath heavy. Aaron had returned home exhausted, but his heart was restless. Once again he found himself at the river's edge, where the stars shone brightly in the sky. He sat on a rock and stared at the water. The moons reflected on its surface like twin silver eyes. He thought of her again, the alien girl he had freed. Her face came back to him in memory, her glowing marks, her trembling voice, and the way she had touched his hand before leaving. He wondered if she was alive. He wondered if she ever thought of him. Suddenly, a strange light appeared in the sky. At first, Aaron thought it was only a shooting star, but the light did not fall. It hovered, moving slowly above the hills. Then another light joined it, and another, until 3 bright shapes drifted together. The lights moved with grace, unlike any machine Aaron had seen before. He stood quickly, his lantern shaking in his hand. Fear touched his heart, but also curiosity. The people of the colony had always feared raiders from space. Could these lights be raider ships, or were they something else? The lights moved closer, then stopped, hanging in the night sky. The river glowed faintly from their shine. Aaron's breath caught in his chest.
He had never seen anything like this.
He took a step back, ready to run, when a 4th light appeared. This one was smaller, moving faster, and it drifted lower toward the forest. Aaron's heart pounded. The smaller light vanished behind the trees. Then the sky grew calm again. The 3 larger lights slowly rose higher until they faded among the stars. Silence returned, but the silence was heavy with mystery. Aaron stood frozen. His thoughts swirled. He told himself to leave, to return to the safety of his room. Yet his feet would not move. Something inside him whispered that he should wait. Minutes passed. The forest across the river grew darker as clouds covered the moons. Then he saw movement. A figure stepped out from the shadows of the trees. His breath caught again. It was her. The alien girl he had freed was standing at the edge of the forest. Her body no longer looked weak. She stood tall, her silver eyes glowing bright, her steps steady. The strange marks on her arms shone more clearly now, pulsing like light flowing through her veins. Around her shoulders she carried a cloak made of a fabric that shimmered like water. Aaron could hardly believe it. For days he had thought she was gone forever. Now she was here again, crossing the riverbank toward him. She moved with calm strength, but her gaze held warmth. When she reached him, she stopped just a few steps away. For a moment, neither spoke. Aaron's lantern flickered in his hand, but he could not look away from her. Then she lifted her arms. In her hands she held a small crystal box. The box glowed softly, like it carried light trapped within. She held it out toward him, her eyes steady. Aaron did not understand. Was this a gift? Was it a warning? He reached out slowly, but before he touched it, she placed the box against her chest and pressed a small mark on its surface. The crystal shimmered and the box opened. Inside was a shining sphere floating gently above the base. It glowed with soft blue light, humming with energy. Aaron stared, his heart racing. He had never seen anything like it. The girl touched the sphere with her fingertips. The light grew brighter and a wave of warmth passed over Aaron. He stumbled back slightly, but the warmth was not painful. It was gentle, like sunlight on skin. Then something strange happened. A voice entered his ears, but it was not his language. Yet his mind understood it clearly. The voice was soft, musical, and full of meaning. "Do not fear," the voice said. "I am Nira." Aaron's eyes widened. He looked at her. Her lips had moved, but she was speaking in a tongue he had never known. Yet he understood every word. The sphere glowed between them, and suddenly he realized what it was. "A translator, you can speak to me," Aaron whispered. His own voice sounded rough compared to hers. Nira's silver eyes softened. "Yes, this sphere allows thought and word to cross between us. It is a gift from my people." Aaron felt his knees weaken. He sat back on the rock, still staring at her. His hands trembled as he tried to take in what was happening. Why did you come back?" he asked. Nira stepped closer. The sphere's glow lit her face. "Because you freed me. You risked yourself when you had no reason. My people do not forget such acts. I came to thank you." Her words were simple, but they struck deep into Aaron's heart. He had freed her without expecting anything in return. To him, it had been the only right choice. Yet now she stood before him again, not as a prisoner, but as someone strong and full of light. Aaron looked at the glowing box. "You came from the lights in the sky?" Nira nodded. "Yes, my family sent ships to watch over me. They wait above, hidden from your colony. When I was taken, they searched for me. Now that I am safe, they know I'm alive." Aaron tried to imagine it, ships larger and brighter than anything humans had built, waiting in the sky. He shook his head in wonder. "You should be with them now," he said quietly. "I will return to them," Nira said. "But first I wish to see you. I wish to give you this gift so you may know me and I may know you." Aaron looked into her eyes again. The silver glow carried no threat. It carried only truth. Slowly he reached out, and this time she placed the crystal box in his hands. It was light, almost weightless, yet he could feel its power. He held it carefully, afraid he might drop it. The sphere pulsed gently, as if it was alive. Nira watched him, then said, "This is not only a translator. It is also a bridge. If you keep it, our voices may meet again, even when I'm far away." Aaron swallowed hard. He had never thought his life would cross with something so strange, so wondrous. He was just a worker in a colony, a man who fixed machines. Yet here he was, holding a gift from another world. The night around them was silent again. Only the river flowed, carrying the reflection of the moons. For a long moment they stood there, two beings from different worlds, bound now by an act of kindness and a gift of light. Aaron finally spoke. "Thank you, Nira." Her lips curved in a faint smile. "No, thank you, Aaron." The night air felt cool against Aaron's face as he held the crystal box in his hands. The glow of the sphere inside lit the riverbank with soft light. His heart was still racing. He could not believe that this was real. Only a week ago, he had freed a weak captive hidden in a storage unit. Now she had returned, standing tall and speaking through a translator that let her voice flow into his mind. Nira's eyes glimmered as she watched him. "The sphere is more than a tool," she said gently. "It is a bond. When you speak near it, I can hear you even if I am far away. When I speak near it, you will hear me. It is a link between us." Aaron stared at the sphere, then back at her. His fingers tightened around the crystal box. He felt both wonder and fear. "Why would you give this to me?" he asked. "I'm just a worker. I have nothing to offer in return." Nira stepped closer, her cloak shining faintly under the twin moons. "You gave me something no one else did, freedom. You did not ask for a price. You did not think of your safety. You chose to act because your heart told you it was right. My people honor such choices." Aaron lowered his gaze. He had never thought of himself as brave. In truth, he had acted without planning, guided only by the need to help. Now, standing in front of her, he realized how much that single choice had changed. He sat down on the rock again, still holding the box carefully. Nira sat across from him, her movements graceful. For a moment, neither spoke. The river whispered beside them, and the night felt calm, as if the world itself was listening. Finally, Aaron asked, "What will happen now? Will you go back to your people and never return?" Nira tilted her head, her silver eyes thoughtful. I must return to them. They wait for me. But this does not have to be the end. The bond we share will remain. Through this sphere we can still speak, and perhaps in time there will be more. Aaron's heart stirred at her words. He looked down at the glowing sphere again. The idea that he could hear her voice even when she was far away filled him with a strange hope. Nira continued, her voice soft but steady. My people have long known of humans. We watched your colonies grow, your machines dig into the soil, your ships cross the stars. Some among us doubted you. They thought humans cared only for taking and building. But you showed me something different. You showed me that humans also carry kindness even when it is dangerous. Her words made Aaron's chest tighten. He was not a leader, not a soldier, not someone important. He was one man in a vast colony, yet somehow his action had reached beyond himself. Do your people hate us? He asked quietly. Nira shook her head. Not hate. Fear, perhaps, caution. We saw how humans fought wars, how they claimed new worlds. But we also saw how you protected one another, how you built families and friendships. We wondered which side of you would face us if our paths crossed. You gave me the answer. Aaron listened, his heart heavy and light at the same time. He wanted to say many things, but words felt too small. After a long silence, he asked, What will you tell them about me? I will tell them the truth, Nira said. That one human, alone and without power, chose compassion over silence. That he freed me when others would have walked away. That because of him I live. Her voice carried strength, and Aaron felt warmth spread through him. He realized that his small choice in the storage yard was not small at all. It had become a story that would reach others beyond his world. The night grew colder, and Nira pulled her cloak tighter around her shoulders. She looked at the river, her eyes reflecting the moon's. I cannot stay long, she said. If the smugglers learn where I am, they may try again. And your people may not understand my presence here. It is safer if I return to my family soon. Aaron nodded, though part of him wished she could stay longer. Then why come back at all? He asked softly. She looked at him again, and her eyes shone brighter. Because good deeds must be answered. You gave me my freedom. I wanted to give you something in return. Not gold or weapons or power, but a bond that cannot be broken. That is why I brought the sphere. Aaron held the crystal box closer, as if guarding it. He felt the weight of her gift not in his hands, but in his heart. The river continued to flow, carrying the sound of moving water through the night. For a time they simply sat together, two souls from different worlds sharing silence. Finally, Aaron asked the question that had been burning inside him. Will I ever see you again? Nira's eyes softened. The future is wide. Paths cross when they are meant to. If you wish, this bond will guide us back together one day. But even if we never meet again in person, the sphere will let us speak. Aaron looked at her, memorizing every detail. The shimmer of her cloak, the silver marks on her skin, the calm strength in her gaze. He wanted to remember this moment forever. When she rose to her feet, he stood as well. She looked toward the forest where shadows stretched long under the moons. My time here is ending, she said gently. But remember this, Aaron. No act of kindness is ever lost. It travels farther than you know. Aaron swallowed hard and nodded. His voice was low but steady. I will remember. Nira stepped back toward the trees. She moved with quiet grace, her cloak flowing like liquid light. Before entering the forest, she turned once more. Her silver eyes met his, and for a moment they spoke without words. Then she was gone, vanishing into the shadows. Aaron stood alone by the river, the crystal box still glowing in his hands. The night felt larger than before, the stars brighter, the air deeper. He knew that his life could never return to what it had been. He was still a worker, still one man in a colony of many, but now he carried a bond that stretched across worlds. As he walked back to his small home, the box glowed softly in his grasp. He felt its warmth against his chest, and he knew that Nira's voice could reach him whenever he wished. The thought filled him with hope. That night, as he lay in bed, the sphere pulsed gently on his table. He closed his eyes, and in the silence he heard her voice again, soft and distant yet clear. Good night, Aaron. He smiled in the darkness. Good night, Nira. And with that, sleep finally came, carrying him into dreams of stars, silver eyes, and a bond that would never be broken. Morning light crept across the colony. Workers rose early, their boots striking the stone paths, their voices rough with sleep. Machines rumbled back to life in the mining pits. Traders unlocked stalls in the market. arranging goods for the day. The colony looked the same as always. Yet for Aaron, everything had changed. On his table rested the crystal box. Inside floated the glowing sphere, pulsing gently like a heartbeat. Aaron touched it with careful hands, afraid he might damage something so strange and valuable. The warmth of the light reached into his skin, and he remembered Nira's words. This was not only a translator. It was a bond, a bridge between their worlds. He leaned closer and whispered, unsure if it would work. "Can you hear me?" For a moment there was silence. Then a voice flowed into his mind, soft and clear. "I hear you, Aaron." He nearly dropped the box in surprise. Her voice was not distant. It was as if she stood beside him. He laughed quietly, both nervous and amazed. "So it works." "Yes," Nira replied. "The sphere connects us. Even though I am far above this world, our words can still meet." Aaron sat back, stunned by the thought. She was already gone, returned to her people, perhaps traveling in one of those bright ships he had seen in the sky. Yet through this glowing sphere, she was still here, speaking to him as if no distance separated them. For days after, Aaron carried the box carefully in his bag while he worked. He did not dare let anyone else see it. If the smugglers or the guards discovered it, trouble would come quickly. But when he was alone, he would touch the sphere and hear her voice. They spoke often. At first, their words were simple. He told her about the colony, about his work repairing drills and carts. She listened with patience, sometimes asking questions about human tools, human food, or the ways of the market. In return, she told him stories of her people. She spoke of vast crystal forests where the trees glowed like fireflies in the night. She told him of rivers that shone with silver fish that leapt into the air like arrows. She described her family, leaders among her kind who carried wisdom and guarded their people. Aaron listened with wonder. Every word painted pictures in his mind. He had always known the colony's dust, its noise, its endless digging. Now he saw a world beyond his own, alive with beauty he had never imagined. As days turned into weeks, their bond grew deeper. They no longer spoke only of their worlds. They spoke of themselves. Nira asked about Aaron's childhood, and he told her about growing up in the crowded colony, about losing his parents to sickness, about learning to repair machines because it was the only skill left to him. He spoke of loneliness, of nights when he walked by the river simply to feel less empty. Nira listened quietly, her voice gentle when she replied. "You are not alone now," she said, and Aaron believed her. One night while he worked late in the storage yard, the smugglers returned. He saw them from a distance, rough men with sharp eyes searching the broken units. He heard one whisper about the missing captive. His chest tightened, fear running through him. If they ever learned who had freed her, his life would be in danger. That night he touched the sphere and told Nira what he had seen. Her voice grew firm. "You must be careful. They will not forget what they lost. But you are not without protection. If danger comes, speak my name into the sphere. I will hear you no matter where I am." Aaron nodded, though part of him doubted. How could someone so far away protect him here? Yet her words gave him comfort, and he trusted her promise. Weeks passed. The colony changed little. Work continued, trade continued, guards walked their rounds. But rumors spread quietly. Some claimed to have seen lights in the sky at night. Others whispered of strange voices in the forest. The overseers dismissed these as nonsense, but fear and curiosity grew among the people. Aaron knew the truth. The lights were Nira's people watching from above. The voices were not spirits, but signals between their ships. He said nothing, keeping the secret close to his heart. One evening, while he walked by the river, the sphere glowed brighter than before. He touched it, and Nira's voice came urgently. "Aaron, listen. My family wishes to approach your leaders. They speak of peace, of friendship, of sharing knowledge. But they fear rejection. Humans are proud and cautious. Will they listen if we come?" Aaron's breath caught. The thought was overwhelming. If her people came openly, everything would change. The colony, the humans, perhaps even the stars themselves. "I do not know," he said honestly. "Some will be afraid. Some will see only danger. But maybe they will listen if they know the truth. That one of your people was saved here, not harmed." There was silence, then Nira's voice returned. "Then you are the bridge. If they will not trust us, they may trust you." Aaron's heart raced. He had never been important. He had never spoken to leaders or carried weight in decisions. Yet now Nira's words placed something heavy upon his shoulders. Could he truly stand as a bridge between two worlds? The following days were uneasy. Aaron worked as usual, but his thoughts were far away. At night he spoke with Nira, and slowly he began to believe. Perhaps peace was possible. Perhaps humans and her people could learn to stand together. The chance came sooner than he expected. One night great lights filled the sky again. This time they did not vanish quickly. They hovered openly above the colony. People shouted in fear. Guards ran through the streets. The overseers ordered weapons prepared. Panic spread like fire. Aaron felt his chest tighten. He ran to his small room, grabbed the crystal box, and rushed toward the colony square. The sphere pulsed brightly in his hands. People stared as he pushed through the crowd. The overseer shouted for calm, but the fear was too strong. "Raiders!" someone cried. "They've come to take our homes." "No!" Aaron shouted, lifting the glowing box. The crowd fell into uneasy silence, their eyes fixed on him. "They are not raiders. They are not here to harm us," the overseer glared at him. "And how would you know that, worker?" Aaron held the box higher. The sphere pulsed, and Nira's voice flowed out clear and strong, carried into every ear. "We come not as enemies," she said. "We come as friends. One of your own freed me when I was held captive." He showed compassion, not cruelty. "We honor him, and we honor you. We wish for peace," gasps rose from the crowd. The overseer stepped back, his face pale. The guards lowered their weapons slowly, uncertain. The people murmured among themselves, some in awe, some in doubt. Aaron's voice shook, but he spoke with all his strength. "I freed her. She was a prisoner here, hidden by smugglers. I could not leave her. I did what was right. And now she has returned, not with anger, but with this gift. She and her people do not seek war. They seek trust." The square grew silent again. Above, the great lights hovered, patient and calm. Finally, the overseer lowered his head. "Then perhaps we must listen." That night marked the beginning of something new. Talks began, quiet and careful, between the humans of the colony and the ships above. The smugglers fled, their secrets exposed. Slowly, fear gave way to curiosity, and curiosity gave way to hope. For Aaron, life was never the same. He was no longer just a repair worker. He had become the voice that connected two worlds. And every night when he touched the sphere, he heard Nira's voice, gentle and steady, reminding him that even the smallest act of kindness can shape the stars